I just want to say, like, I've been really blown away and taken a lot of notes on what you've said, and a lot I agree with. I think as well, just the point about young people engaging in politics, certainly anybody who doubts that voting at 16 is not a runner should listen to the quality of the debate today and try and argue that people at 16 shouldn't have the right to vote. And I really encourage, and I don't want to plumose you or patronise you, because I hate that when young people are told how wonderful you are, but the one thing I will ask of you is that you continue to keep the pressure on legislators, because it is absolutely critical that we feel the pressure to act on climate change, because none of this is easy. Being elected reps, it's not easy to make the decisions, but it gets much easier if we keep having the pressure from the likes of yourselves, because I always think young people and society are ahead of politics all the time. But what struck me most about what you were saying is there's kind of a single thread that runs through everything, because we're living in multiple crises. And it's whether it's the climate crisis, the biodiversity crisis, inequality that some of you touched on as well, the poverty crisis, racism. And for me, I believe it's because of the economic system that we're living in and that capitalist, neoliberal straitjacket that we find ourselves in, and that makes it so much harder for us to adapt and adjust and to take the actions that we absolutely need to do. You know, and we heard about the extractive industries and the mining and the fossil fuel companies and the impact they're having, the human rights violations, and the consumption, as my colleague Darren O'Rourke was talking about, that need to constantly be buying stuff and you know, forcing us to just replace our diesel car with an electric car as opposed to rolling out public transport. You know, so I'd love to just hear your thoughts on, do you think we can actually address all of those multiple crises without actually addressing the elephant in the room, which is the economic system that we're living in? Because I can't see how we're going to be able to do it unless we face up to that we have to redistribute the wealth. Billionaires shouldn't exist. We shouldn't have rich billionaire men racing to get into space and burning up huge amounts of fossil fuel while you have people who are homeless, you know, and living in poverty. So I'd love to just kind of have that conversation and hear from all of you about, do you think it is possible that we can actually tackle all of those crises unless we tackle the economic system that we live in? The other thing, when you talk about even the Ardna Crusha as well, the ambition that we had as a new state in terms of energy, we need to replicate that. We absolutely need to have that type of ambition, but it has to be state-led. And again, that goes back to the point when we're constrained about, you know, the amount of money that we can borrow as governments, and the way we're constrained in it. Can we actually do what we did when we were a young nation state and have those big energy projects, have the big public transport that rolls out across the country, as opposed to the current tinkering around the edges that we're having? So I'll leave it there, Chair, because that's just, I suppose that's the big question I ask myself every day, and I feel that, I know if you don't watch Don't Look Up, I feel like I'm at the point where I'm hanging out with the skaters, and at least coming in here today has given me hope to continue to keep fighting on, but I'd love to hear your response to that.
Thank you, Sandra, and I think it's